What is up, guys? Frosty Osty 0232 here for another Frosty Features. We are finally seeing the announcement. We finally got it. Rogue is coming to Marvel Strike Force, so we're going to talk about her a little bit of her background. Rogue's been around for a while, and a lot of I would say everybody has sort of a slightly little bit of a background knowledge in Rogue. So I'm going to try to dive into some of the more nitty-gritty things about Rogue, just to kind of hopefully embellish on what you already know about Rogue. We'll of course hit some of the major points, but my goal here is just to be able to give you that little story bit that you may or may not already have on Rogue. And be sure to like and subscribe. Yeah, help me out. So we're gonna talk about Rogue. This is the original design for Rogue. So this isn't what we're used to seeing. This isn't what we're getting in the game. What we're getting in the game is based on the 97 X-Men model. Rogue's had a lot of different kind of incarnations over the years, but this is actually how she originally came out. So her name is Anna Marie. She does not have a LeBeau. That might sound familiar, right? That is her current name. Her maiden name was never released to the public, to my knowledge. Let me know in the comments if I missed that. Ding. Okay, anyway, Anna Marie LeBeau. First appearance, Avengers Annual number 10, all the way back in 1981. So the X-Men started in the 60s. So this is still fairly early, but she obviously kicked off the 80s. The 80s were kind of a rougher time for a lot of comic books, and the 90s were the big boost, and that's when the X-Men became the most popular comic, essentially of all time, pretty close, if not. And Rogue was a main part of it then, so there was a lot of build-up in the 80s for Rogue to get to that point. Powers and abilities. Very famously, she has power absorption. So, I keep making a lot of assumptions about your knowledge on Rogue. That's because she's in the X-Men movies, and I do this assumption that everyone's seen these X-Men movies. But Rogue's whole situation is that she has power absorption. If she touches you with her bare skin, she will either take your life essence, your energy, your personality, your powers, whatever you have. It doesn't matter if your powers come from magic. It doesn't matter if they're a mutant ability. It doesn't matter if it's some sort of serum. She saps your life. She saps whatever you have, and for the most part, she can't control it. Most incarnations of Rogue can't control it. A lot of more modern Rogue, Rogue has the ability to kind of turn it on, turn it off. So a really important factor to her power absorption that a lot of people don't, I guess, really realize is she does, in fact, take the personality and the memories of a person that she absorbs, right? So her absorption can take a great mental toll on her. We're going to talk a lot about that moving forward, but I just want to be clear about it now. Also, this power absorption thing, traditionally, out of 1,000 people she's absorbed, is 990 of them are short-term situations. But essentially, the longer she touches you, the longer she will have your powers, or she will take whatever it is that is you from you, right? Your memories, whatever. The longer she holds on to you, the longer it stays, right? So that's really important, because also, if you die while she's touching you, she kind of keeps your powers indefinitely. Right, so that's actually a very important part of Rogue. So alias is Mrs. X. So she typically is just referred to as Rogue, 9.9 times out of 10. Mrs. X, I believe, is a alternate universe Rogue reference. But I wanted to throw it in there because variety is the key to life, right? Affiliations, pretty much any X-Men incarnation there is. Excalibur, most famously, when she came in, not only did she look like this and not what we're used to, she was a bad guy. She was evil. She was evil. Teamed up with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. That's how she even met the X-Men. Definitely fought and almost killed and has killed people involved with the X-Men before she kind of switch sides to the famous kind of version of Rogue that we see in the 90s. Now I keep saying different versions of Rogue. Good guy, bad guy Rogue, same universe, same character. she just has, you know, her character changes. It's a character shift, right? Making an interesting character in Rogue. Background, Caldecott County in Mississippi. Famously, Rogue is a Southern Belle. Even when she was evil, she was still a Southern Belle. Which means that she has a Southern charm. She's got the thick accent. Depending on who the writer is of the comic book, they will actually write like I with AH, like just to really drive home the fact that she's got a thick Southern accent. If you've seen the '97 X-Men series, thick Southern accent. In the X-Men movies, not so much. Anna Paquin was an interesting choice for her. There was a lot of liberties taken with the character of Rogue. She's quite different, but still a fun thing to watch. And she has a very slight Southern accent in that, but she's supposed to be full on, you know, there's a snake in my boot type of accent. There you go. Who died? So, as with most superheroes and supervillains, somebody had to die, right? For them to be who they are today. Her mom, and pretty much Cody Robbins. So we're going to talk about her parents a little bit, moving forward. But, yeah, so her mother disappeared for a very long time, and it was presumed dead for a long time, shows back up, and then she gets killed, which greatly affects Rogue, and pretty much Cody Robbins. One of the most famous backgrounds of Rogue is, that as a teenager, so mutants, they manifest their powers when they become a teenager. They don't know when, they don't know why. This isn't always the case, but more often than not, and in Rogue's case, it is. So, they manifest as a teenager. She was dating Cody Robbins, and they were having a nice little fun night and decided to go in for their first kiss, and as soon as their lips touched, she drained his life force and put him into a deep, deep coma, which scarred her a lot. And so she ran away from home and started running away from home to home to home and called herself Rogue because of her moving around to different places. So she, all the way up to modern time, she is scarred by what she did to Cody Robbins. Not just short-term power. So I referenced it a little bit earlier. Now it's time to dive, baby. The longer she touches you, the longer she holds on to your memories, your powers, whatever. So famously, she killed Wonder Man and retained his powers for a while, right? And so the thing with Rogue is some of these powers that she gets, and she has them for a long time, she will randomly lose them, and then she'll kill somebody else, or something will come up and she'll get the powers back. So Miss Marvel is the most famous, not Captain Marvel. The blog said Captain Marvel. It is Miss Marvel when Carol Danvers was Miss Marvel. Carol Danvers has a lot of different aliases, including Binary, Captain Marvel, Miss Marvel, etc. When Carol Danvers was Miss Marvel, they got into a fight, and Rogue got all sorts of Carol Danvers and took her powers and took her memories, wiped her slate clean. She had no idea who she was. All of her powers were gone. But typically when you see Rogue now, she can fly and she's super strong. That is either from her powers that she took from Miss Marvel or when she killed Wonder Man. So 9 times out of 10, you see her able to fly. You see her with super strength. That is because of her murder of one of those two people. Also, the Miss Marvel, there's a bit of debate on whether or not Miss Marvel died from that. Carol Danvers obviously continued on after that situation, but she had to rediscover who she is. But you will find, if you read a lot of comics, that Miss Marvel ends up becoming this essentially second personality for Rogue, where she has Carol's consciousness within her, and she has a lot of those memories. She has to kind of have to deal with it. So yeah, so she deals with Wonder Man and Miss Marvel. There's specific characters that really stick out in her mind as far as like that kind of speak, because she does, like I said, get the personalities and memories. So also Belladonna. Shout out to Frosty Features Gambit. I did a few weeks ago. Definitely check out that video to learn more about Belladonna. But in short, Belladonna is an assassin that was Remy LeBeau, Gambit's first wife. Rogue touched her while she was in a coma and absorbed all of her memories. So a big thing about her and Gambit, famously, Rogue and Gambit are a couple. Her name's Anna Marie LeBeau, as you can see above. That means they got married. But so she took Belladonna's memories, and there was a while in the comics where she was convinced that she only liked Gambit because she was thinking as Belladonna, which was really important. So this happened for quite a while. And Belladonna, once again, was presumed dead, not killed by Rogue, but Rogue kind of got to her before she died, essentially. And Belladonna dies, and not dies all the time. So that's really important to remember. But yes, so she had those, and that was a part of the big conflict why her and Gambit were on and off pretty much. This might be a bold statement, but pretty much through the 90s. That was one of the big factors. Multiple personalities kept in check. That's a very popular thing with the release of Moon Knight lately, and some of the other characters that have been brought up in mainstream media lately. A very important thing to know about Rogue is that she constantly has those different personalities. I just talked about Belladonna and Miss Marvel. She has those in her head, and at certain points in the comics, certain points as it comes up, she has a lot of them going around, but she typically doesn't let them take over. Carol Danvers famously, once again, has come out through her multiple times, but for the most part, she has, I guess, the mental fortitude to actually kind of keep them separate from her own main situation. So it's something that she deals with heavily internally, but she's able to operate at a very high level with these actual, different consciousness beating around in her head. Music transition was great for that slide. Relationships, Owen and Priscilla, her biological parents. Owen is the straight-laced, hardcore, like, you gotta do this way, whatever. Priscilla being her mother. Her mom being kind of a hippie, free love kind of situation. Carrie is her aunt, so the aunt that she famously runs away from is Carrie. She has various foster mothers and brothers, so Galaxy and Mystique are famously two of her famous foster mothers. For brothers, Nightcrawler is the most notable in my opinion. So this is her running around and kind of being taken in by, these different misfits or whatever. Because of her relationship with Mystique, that's how she becomes involved with the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. So Mystique actually has a lot tied to her, and maybe someday I can do a retroactive one on Frosty features on Mystique. But yeah, so she ran around with Mystique for a while, taught Rogue how to steal, how to kind of blend in with stuff. And that's what kind of led her to the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, which inadvertently led her to the X-Men. And Remy LeBeau is her husband. Her and Gambit do, in fact, spoiler alert, they do, in fact, get married, and they are an exclusive item as of right now in the comics. Notable events fighting for the Brotherhood. Alright, so Rogue has been a central part of the X-Men since, obviously, the 1980s, so she has been involved in all of the notable events. I'm only going to hit these two. The list goes on and on. So this is this picture I've got here is her draining Captain America. So her fighting for the Brotherhood, as I said, she worked with Mystique. Mystique kind of showed her, this is how life should be. This is how we should kind of go. She was operating under the ideals of Magneto at the time. So, mutant superiority and such, which, rubbed off on Rogue. And she worked as essentially an assassin for the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, kind of being their strike person. That's how she ends up fighting Carol Danvers in the first place as Miss Marvel. Yeah, kind of basic. That's it. And destruction of Hecatomb. So this design of Rogue is a little bit more like what we're used to. This is an interesting one, so I just wanted to bring up. So Shi'ar Tech. Shi'ar Tech is Kree Tech. It's sort of the X-Men's, like, this is why I'm more technologically advanced than you, is because I have Shi'ar Tech. There is essentially a weapon of mass destruction that Shi'ar built. It's called Hecatomb, and what it is it goes through the galaxy, and it so kind of very similar to Rogue. It feeds on people's life forces and their personalities, and it stores them all in itself to essentially become become stronger and bigger. So it's a very large piece of machinery that essentially just swallows and kills people, and it comes to destroy Earth or whatever. So Rogue famously has to take her gloves off and goes up there and essentially dismantles this giant thing. But this wrecks, so it talks about Rogue's mental fortitude. This wrecks Rogue mentally, spiritually, physically, in every way, because Hecatomb would store these people's personalities, their life force, all the things that Rogue absorbs. So when she destroys Hecatomb, she literally absorbs all of the life forms, the creatures that this giant Shi'ar tech has infected over the years. And also, before this, she fought a villain called Pandemic, where she got a virus. So the X-Men are very famous for various contractions of viruses. She got one called Strain 88, which essentially vamps up mutant powers to the nth degree, to where it's pretty much always a negative. So Rogue was like, ultimately, if she absorbed anything, she killed whatever she absorbed. So that, plus the destruction of Hecatomb, she had millions and millions of voices in her head, and it kind of drives her crazy for a short period of time. So that's a big thing that she kind of had to work through. Alright, so power level. So we're going to talk about power scaling. Marvel Strike Force doesn't really do power scaling. It kind of just throws things at a wall and see how it sticks. But for our sake, for our conversation, we're going to do some power scaling. So the way that my power scaling system works is we've got multiversal characters. So multiversal means that you are a threat to reality itself. On a whim, you can end your universe and all the universes that exist at that time. You are a deadly threat. There are very few people that kind of exist on this level, very few characters in the Marvel Universe, but they exist, right? Universal, you can end your universe, maybe swap over to another one, and that one kind of at a single level. You are, you know, a galactic threat. You are very scary. A cosmic. So you have, on the low end, you can destroy a small planetary body in one hit. On the high end, a little bit of dedication, maybe you can take out galaxies as you go. Cosmic's quite strong. Nuclear. So nuclear, we're looking at with a lot of grit and determination, you could probably take out a single planet. Small cities on the low end, essentially, you know, being able to the equivalent of a nuke, right? City level, most notable city level heroes are something like Spider-Man or Daredevil. So city levels, you can take out like a brick wall, you know, with little determination. Maybe you could take out a whole building. Most of our Marvel heroes kind of live on the city level, or they operate here in some kind of way. And then there's Greg. Greg is the undead Asgardian that Hela summons in Marvel Strike Force, and for the sake of argument, we're calling him at human level. And if I had a 2x4 with a few screws sticking out of the sides of it, and a Red Bull, I could probably take out Greg, right? So we're calling him approximate human strength just for the sake of argument. I recognize that he's Asgardian and that comes with its own things, but for our conversation, he is at human level. So the way that I personally rank Rogue, so Rogue was a really tough one. These last few Frosty features have been full of some people whose power levels vary. Rogue, obviously, hers varies so greatly because depending on who she fights, she can become so much stronger, right? So on her own, I rate her at a cosmic level because typically when you see Rogue, she has the powers of either Wonder Man or she has the powers of Captain Marvel, who can destroy something like a planetary body with, you know, a strong enough blast or whatever. Super strength. I heard a follow. Thank you so much for the follow. Anyway, so she's at this cosmic level. She has the ability just inherently to even absorb maybe life essence of a planet, whatever, be able to take it out. But if she fights the right person, I would argue that she is a multiversal threat, right? Because if she fights somebody like Scarlet Witch, or she fights somebody like maybe the one above all, or something with a living tribunal, all it takes for her is to touch them for an extended period of time to have, or at all really, to have that level of power. And therefore, especially with her inability to control these powers when she first gets them, very famously Rogue, when she absorbs people, she kind of freaks out and those powers go awry. There's a real chance that if Rogue fought the correct person and was able to get a hold of them, she could accidentally end reality as the Marvel 616 knows it. So I personally believe that Rogue can be on that scale, but it really depends on who she's fighting, right? And because she has to physically touch them, it makes it a lot harder for her to be actually be able to pull that off, but there it is. So that was Frosty Features Rogue. I hope that y'all enjoyed that. Let me know if I said anything you like, if I missed anything, whatever. Let me know in the comments. Make sure you hit that bell so you know when I post a new video. I post them every time that Marvel Strike Force announces a new character. Like, subscribe, share, help your brother out. Also, I Twitch on Sundays, I stream on Twitch on Sundays starting at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time every week. Link is above me. And yeah, so that's Frosty Features Rogue. I hope that y'all enjoyed it, and have a fantastic day. And most importantly, all y'all lovely people, stay cool.